You're in the mix.
SKM presents Strictly for the Music Podcast. You are now live with the #1 podcast for all upcoming artists worldwide.
It's the real deal.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode. This is Strictly for the Music Podcast. I'm your host. You already know. Ladies and gentlemen, today we got a special guest in. Scheme Shooter, lyrical lock-on bar breaker. When the subconscious mind takes over, you become out of control. Co-founder of Blunted One's Mafia with 2 albums out, Smoke Says Volume 1 and Smoke Says Volume 2. Ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, let me introduce to you OC, a.k.a. Outta Control.
What's up?
What's up, man? I'm glad you made it to this interview, man. It's a pleasure to have you on. So let's start from the beginning, man. What was it like growing up, and what'd you grow up listening to?
Growing up for me, man, I moved around a lot as a kid. I lived in multiple states, from the north to the south, from east to the west, man. My father was a over-the-road trucker, so we went basically where that money was. My parents split when I was little, so I went from house to house, you know what I mean, jumping back and forth, alternating schools and shit. And I kind of got a notion for different sounds and different tunes and shit, basically from side to side, you know what I mean?
Dope, man. All right, man. Let me ask you this, man. What was some of the music that influenced you growing up as a kid, man?
I had different cultures, more or less, from my family. I listened to everything from Tupac and Biggie, from the East Coast, and then I jumped over and I would listen to stuff from down south. I listened to the Swisher House, all the people from the Swisher House. That was a big influence on me as well. It was just a broad mix, if you will. It wasn't really pinpointed at one person or one spot. You know what I mean? Just being so culturally sound, in the different spots that I lived in, I kind of grew accustomed to those sounds, and then would move and then get accustomed to those sounds, and it would just kind of build my my palette, if you will, musically.
All right, man, that's dope, man. All right, so let me ask you this, man. As an adolescent, bro, you began writing everything from short stories to poems, man. Run us through that real quick and let the audience know a little bit about how you started writing short stories and poems, man.
It was more or less through school is what got me involved. As a kid, you're taught to read and write, and then once you move on from there, you kind of expand through your own mind, into words what you want to express. And school kind of got me involved in that with the writing lessons that they had, and then we had the essays that we had to write and everything like that. So I just took those spots and I was like, you know what, instead of doing exactly what they wanted, I always kind of threw my own flair and my own kind of style and sauce it up, in my own words, if you will, and would turn in my stuff. And then when I realized, that was kind of what was giving me that extra credit, if you will, like going above and beyond, what they wanted, I was like, okay, I got a little bit of a knack for this. So I started expanding into poetry and, things like that. And that kind of the poetry is what more or less got me into the bar cadences and things like that, breaking down the words into the way I wanted them to go and making a flow and have it go just exactly how I planned it.
Dope, man. Hell yeah. All right, man. So when would you say that you started writing on beats, man, and doing your songs, man? Was this freestyle or were you writing these complete songs?
I would more or less, I wouldn't necessarily say freestyle. I don't have that quite of a quick mind, if you will. I just have a solid, consistent flow that I would hear a beat. I'll come up with a couple of bars in my head. And then if they didn't fit just quite right, I would just kind of go back to the drawing board and think about how I wanted to break it down. If it was a syllable thing or if it was something that just wasn't rhyming or didn't sound right, I would break that down. But I would say probably about around the ages of like 10 or 11, when I first started hearing like instrumentals, being able to research my own instrumentals and stuff like that, I would take those sounds and then incorporate something that I've already written and see how it goes. And if it wasn't fitting just right, you know what I mean, I would tweak it a little bit here and there and get it to where I would go more or less fluently throughout the song. Now, it wasn't anything where they were full on songs. I wasn't anything crazy like I'm going to publish these because, you know, being a kid, I was more or less scared, you know, what people thought of what was going to happen. And, you know, if this is even going to be something people like. And then that overall fear of feedback. Just children in general have it, whether it be music or anything like that in their daily life. They just have a fear of feedback, whether is this going to be liked or not. So that was more or less one of those things where I kept all that shit was more or less in my private collection. And then once I got to that age where I started reporting in real time, I would take almost a reflection look and look back on stuff that I have written. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, it's not something necessarily that will go with, you know, today's modern society and everything, because it was more or less something that was for back then. But I can change it and make it, you know, more modernized, and which I've done to some of my tracks. So.
All right, man. All right, man. So let me ask you this, man. Taking the concept of these expressions is mostly about the haters that not only you, but also everyone else. Can you elaborate on that, man?
I mean, with that being said, it was more or less you yourself included. Everybody has a hater, at least one, whether it be, you know, music, whether it be your daily life of just going, you know what I mean? Somebody's going to be hating on you for what you're doing. They're not going to like it. You can also get those haters where they like what you're doing, but because of how you're doing it and, you know, how you're moving and the way you're moving up, some people will hate on that because they just can't do it themselves. With that being said, everybody's got a hater, so everybody can relate to that. You don't have to necessarily have something with it musically. Anything from daily life, sports, anything. You know what I mean?
All right, dope, man, dope. All right, man. So let me ask you this, man. What makes you different from other artists, man?
For differences, I would say my main my main difference from any other person would be that, you know, all artists differ in general. I don't really think there's a similarity between anybody with their music, because music is it's an art, so it's subjective to their own mind. They portray it in their own way. So everything that I do would be different from anybody else. The only constant with that is, you know, if somebody's trying to, you know, wave ride or something like that, they might bite off somebody else's stuff, you know, just to get that recognition real quick. But I mean, those things soon fade out. And then, you know, people realize you're not being yourself. So I would say, you know what I mean? The difference for me would be just me being me.
Hell yeah. All right, man. All right, man. So we're going to head to your catalog, man. We're going to talk about the first album, Smoke Sesh Volume 1 on BandLab.com. And everyone that don't know about BandLab.com, go to your Play Store, look up BandLab, and you're going to find this man's music. And he got about 2 albums right here. So let's get into the first question, man. Tell us a little bit about the project, how you started it, and what was your goals during doing this project, man?
The albums came. It's actually kind of funny. I was just one of these days where I was just kind of minding my business, scrolling through some stuff, music, beats and things like that. And I actually had one of my homies that I've known for a while. He hit me back up and just basically gave me the 411, like, hey man, I got all my equipment back. You know, I got my stuff set up. I'm going to start making beats soon. And I was like, word? So once that happened, it was pretty much, you know, one of those golden rainbows from there. I just kind of sat back and waited. And once he threw me beats, I laid down tracks.
Dope, man. Hell yeah. All right, man. Do you still work with that same beat maker right now, man?
Zore, yeah. He's, you know, me and him are still homies. He's gotten a little bit of a busier schedule now, so he's kind of fallen back with the beat making. He does still make beats on the side more or less, but not anything to where it's he's looking to sell anything right now. He just got a lot busier with everything opening back up due to this pandemic and everything. He got everything back running up, so his life kind of got a little more hectic. But yeah, if you guys go on BandLab, it's at Zore _on_beat. He's got some stuff.
Dope, man. All right, man. So can you elaborate on the first song off the jump, Lethal Cerebral?
Yeah, Lethal Cerebral. So that was more or less a track that I had written from well, I guess teenage years, if you want to call it that. But I've changed some things within the bars. I switched up the flow from the original writing, and then added a little bit of flavor with some ad libs here and there. But yeah, that track really reminiscent with me because from the jump, I had those initial haters just straight out the gate. You know what I mean? As a kid, when I started, when people started seeing that I was doing things that they kind of couldn't. You know what I mean? I had those haters. You can't do this. You know, you're not gonna do nothing. All right, so you know, I took that into consideration when I rewrote the lyrics for this track, and I just kind of emphasized everything that I was ever told and let them know, like, this is coming from my mind, like this is my mind, and this is what I can do with it.
Dope, man. Hell yeah. All right, man. So end of discussion, man.
End of discussion. Yeah, that was a funny kind of track to do. The name for that track honestly was not even known for a while. We just kind of sat back and listened to it over and over before we wanted to put it out. And there's a specific bar within that track that says settle down, children, it's the end of discussion. And that just kind of stuck with me and him, and we just kind of came into agreement, like that's got to be the name of this track because it just kind of settles everybody down.
Dope, man. All right, man. So Come Alive, man. Can you elaborate on that one?
Yeah, Come Alive. That track has a nice I believe he said that inspiration was definitely like a West Coast vibe. And I wanted to kind of throw some kind of a West Coast bop to it, if you will. Something that just kind of, you know, you could sit back and just be cruising in the street and shit. You know what I mean? Just jamming out. But yeah, he gave me that beat, and Come Alive was one that I've actually already had written. It was more of an up tempo track, and I was really looking forward to doing it in that style. But when he gave me that beat, when I heard it, I was like, yeah, I gotta really change it up. But this is gonna definitely run smooth, and it turned out great.
Dope, man. All right, man. So let's move on to the next album, man. Smoke Sesh Volume 2, man. Blunted Ones, OC Gas. Can you elaborate, brother?
Gas, yeah. So I mean, if you can't tell by now, any of your listeners can't tell by now, Smoke Sesh is definitely a 420 related album names. So with that being said, we kind of sat back with both these albums and just kind of wanted to let everybody have that kind of music where, you know, when you in that vibe and you in that smoking area of yours and you just zoning out, like the tracks can relate to what you're doing at the same time. And that Gas track was just one of those things where we were literally just, you know, sitting there brainstorming, you know, on a smoke sesh, and it just came to us. I was like, let's get it. We got to get this down. Send me a beat. He made a beat on the spot, just threw it at me, and then we just kind of ran with it.
Oh yeah, dope, man. All right, man. So let me ask you this, man. Till Death. Oh wait, hold on. On this album, man. There's a right before Gas, dog. There's a Kush. Is it? How do you pronounce the last word, bro?
Yeah, it's just a spelling thing. He wanted to change up the spelling, but it's Kush Disaster.
Oh, okay. All right, man. So can you elaborate on it, man?
Yeah, that one that one we had basically both, like, we live in opposite spots. We don't live anywhere near each other, you know what I mean? I had ended up moving. So back when I was telling you my homeboy hit me up, it was one of those things where we kind of like fell off for a little bit. Being that there was such a distance, he had his life still going on, I had my life. But when he hit me back up asking me if I was still doing the music, we both got in tune with each other, and from there we just kind of reminisced on back when we were together, hanging out and shit at his house or my house, and we would do the smoke sessions and shit. We were like, you know what, you still indulge in that stuff, and we found out we had that in common. So we would sit there and go back and forth, send pictures, you know what I mean, just kind of joshing each other who's got better shit type shit. But in that sense, we both got this one Kush strain where we had that in common. And when we made this track, we were like, yo, let's make a Kush track. We got to make a Kush track.
Hell yeah, man. That's dope, man. All right, man. So moving on to Till Death, man.
Yeah, Till Death. That's a real personal, sentimental one for me. The track itself, before the beat was even made, we had a rendition of something that we wanted to do that had more of a mellow tone to it. Cause you know what I mean? When it comes to having a smoke sesh, there's multiple different euphorias that you can go into. You can get that super, super happy. You can get that super, excited, jittery type vibe. You can get that sad mellows, that's that melodramatic type vibe from doing some stuff. So with that being said, we were like, yo, we have to have something in tune for, those type of listeners who, have maybe something going on when they smoke sesh, they have something going on, and, that the smoke sesh is helping them out. Let's go ahead and give them a track where, they can vibe and relate to it. So Till Death for me, the death of my mother was more or less the trigger for that. He had a couple of deaths in his family as well. So he came up with a real steady beat, added some sauce to it, sent it over to me, and I basically ran with it. That track alone probably only took me 15, 20 minutes. I knew immediately, like, the emotion that I was having when things happened, and the emotion and everything just kind of drove those bars, just kind of just came to me almost immediately. It was almost a freestyle, if you will, but I was basically spitting faster than I can write when I was writing that one.
Hell yeah, man. That's dope, man. All right, man. Let me ask you this: what song inspired you the most from both albums, man?
From both albums, I mean, I really be fucking with that Handle Business. Handle Business, that came from Smoke Sesh V1, I believe. That was the fourth track on that album. And that one really reminisced with me, because you know what I mean, having the haters that I had growing up, having the haters that I know I have now, I just wanted to drive that into their minds. You know what I mean? I'm all about the business. So you could tell me all you want till your face turn blue that I'm not doing nothing, but to me, them are just words, and I'll let you know what my words are. So that one really held true for me.
All right, man. Hell yeah, that's dope. All right, man. So let me ask you this, man. How did you discover BandLab, man?
That was again, BandLab was a discovery from the homie when he hit me up. I'm not sure if he said he had a friend or somebody that had messaged him about his music. I guess they knew previously before that he was gonna try to get back into it. And when he hit me up, he said, "Yo, you still doing the thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got the music. Everything's still golden over here." And then he was like, "Well, what are you doing with it?" I said, "Well, right now it's more or less just that hobby. Like, I just be doing it to do it for myself. Get emotions out and shit like that. Anything off my chest, I can just put on no beat." And when he said that he had his equipment back, I said, "Oh, bet it's on." And he's like, "Not only that, bro, I also have, you know, a little platform that we can probably get some good recognition and some good feedback on our stuff, basically, and let us know how we're moving as artists." And him as a producer, I said, "You know, bet let's roll with it. Let's start it up."
Hell yeah, man. That's dope. All right, man. So, can we expect any music videos from either album, man?
There was definitely some discussions. Just being the fact that we're so far away, we're trying to work out, you know, that production side. Um, we don't necessarily want to just have one person be the sole operator of the videos. We would like to try to incorporate both of our you know, our hometowns within it.
Uh-huh.
So it's more or less a time consuming production thing. And then with it being that we're in different spots, we, you know, the timing as far as what scenes specifically are you going to want to do, this and that. So like I said, we're in talks and discussions and everything like that. So it can be soon. It can be soon, but I would expect a little bit later than sooner.
All right, man. Dope, man. All right. So, man, have you done any concerts, open mics, talent shows, any of that kind of sort?
At one point in time, I had a homie here. He goes by Lit XXX on BandLab, but he lives relatively close to me. And me and him had a spot where we were basically doing, I wouldn't say performances, but we would do live sessions, if you will, through an actual live app. So like a live streaming app. We would go through that. We both made profiles, and we would basically just take whatever we had music wise, and we would just live spit it for them, and just basically get reactions. And based off of that, we would kind of tweak and like, okay, people are feeling this bar and this bar, but this bar kind of made them fall off. So we'll go ahead and we'll basically critique our own work via the live chat, and then things that we were getting discussion wise through DMs and things like that. So we haven't done anything, or I haven't done anything physically live, but there is production talks about some local like clubs and bars and things like that we might be able to get into.
Dope, man. Hell yeah. All right, man. So my next question is going to lead to live performances on Instagram Live, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, any live streaming platform. Was that something that you're interested in? Because I've seen a lot of artists nowadays are taking these live performances and posting them on their Instagram Lives, use all of them live streaming platform, man. Is that something you'd be interested in?
I mean, there's definitely discussions about it. We're trying to figure it out. It's more or less a time consuming thing.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out, because with you know, the people that I work with and the people that I associate my music with, they all have their own, you know, things that they're doing as well. So, you know, nobody wants to just throw everything on one person. We're all trying to figure out, you know, who's going to take part in this, who's going to take part in that. And it's more or less like I said, a time consuming thing, getting everybody's roles figured out.
All right, man. Dope, man. All right, man. So, favorite collaboration so far with any artist that you probably collab in now or in present, man?
My collabs, man, I have so many great collabs on BandLab. BandLab is, for me, produced a lot of great artists. One of my favorites and probably the most fun that I've had was with SSK Benhamz. It's spelled SSKBENHAMZ, and that was just one of the funnest projects because more or less for me, the reason it was fun is I had very little promoing going on at the time. And I think I basically only had one of my albums out at the time when we first got into contact, but it was fun for me because he hit me up solely off of something that he heard from one of the albums, and he was like, "Hey man, you got a great sound. I really want to collab with you." And I was like, "Okay." For me at the time, it was new. He was my very first collab that I did anything with, and he hit me with a beat, and the story behind that collab was he hit me with a beat, and he says, "I don't really have a concept for it. I've had the beat, for a little while, and I'm trying to figure it out." And I listened to it for like 10 minutes. It was like a 3-minute beat, and I listened to it back to back to back a couple of times. And within that 10 minutes, I basically came up with a concept and a hook, and gave it to him, and was like, "What do you think?" And he was like, "Let's run with it." He's like, "Just go." I was like, "All right, bet." So we recorded, and then I came up with my verse, and then I threw it to him, and I was like, "Here, man, throw whatever you want on it and finish it off, and then let me know what you think." And that song, it was amazing. That song maybe took maybe an entire day for the entire thing to get, between beat transfer and the actual structure building, and then the recording, and then the mastering. It was literally just a day. It got made and then sent out and published. It was awesome.
Dope, man. Hell yeah. All right, man. Is there any artists on BandLab that you want to collab in the future?
There's been a couple of artists that I've been listening to that I have not been able to get in contact with when it came to collabs. I've reached out. They've kind of gotten back to me, but we haven't gotten anything solid, concrete just yet. But I got some work that hopefully going to be starting up with that Frostbite Freezy or Frostbite Freezy, and me and Lit. Like I said, Lit was going to be a new collab that we should be having some more work coming out as well. And then the runner's actually somebody that I'm going to be working with in the near future as well. But yeah, there's so many. Basically anybody that I'm following right now. If you ever go to my page and see whoever I'm following, they're all great artists.
Dope as fuck, man. Hell yeah, man. All right, so leading to my next question, man. If you could collaborate with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
This is it's a great question. For me, for me, I would have to say it would be the late Mac Miller. Just being the sound that he had, I feel would be a great contrast for me. And the way that we would come across, I feel like it would be a great sound for a track. It would have a nice hip hop, and then at the same time have that rap vibe at the same time. I think that would have been a great collab. I do have ideas, and me and my production team are talking about trying to see about getting one of his songs and trying to mix and master it in a way where I can maybe jump on as an extra and maybe just kind of do a remix, if you will, just to kind of see how that sound would come across. But that's something that we're in the talks with. So
dope, man. Dope. All right, man. Do you have any advice for the upcoming generation, man, that is trying to I don't know, man, maybe try to do music like you in your local area, man?
My advice is gonna be something along the lines of just stay true to yourself. There's gonna be haters everywhere you go. There's gonna be people that make you second guess yourself, and there's gonna be people that just are gonna be straight up blunt with you and say you suck. That's their opinion. Like I said, music is an art. Art is subjective. It's a very opinionated thing. But in the end, it all boils down to the artist, and the artist makes what the artist makes. Whatever your genre will be when it comes to music, continue, to perfect that style. Continue to perfect you, and stay true to yourself. Don't let somebody's opinion make you change who you are.
Dope, man. Hell yeah. All right, man. So, what audience are you trying to target with your music, man?
Everyone, everyone. Everyone has haters. Everyone knows what it's like to be hated on. And when it comes to the two smoke sesh, obviously those were targeted more towards smokers, but I have some people that aren't smokers at all that say they jam out to that all the time. So I mean, pretty much everybody is gonna be my target audience. Because if you are a music lover in any sense of the form, then you're gonna be on that list of being targeted to listen to one of my tracks and see, if you vibe to it or you vibe to it.
Dope, man. All right, man. Favorite bar ever wrote in a song?
Favorite bar. I would say that it was I have a collaboration with The Runner. It's the Runner's song. It's called Next to Blow. And I basically came in and I was changing up the cadence and switching my flow up a little bit at this point, but I said, motherfuckers feeling froggy, I will make them croak. Animalistic attitude, and then I go. A motherfucking wolf in the game, I eat a goat. So like that when that came to me, at first I didn't realize how hard of a bar it was going to be until some people were listening to it and were like, did he just say what I think he just said? And that's when I realized, like, damn, that actually probably is a nice little sequence there. But I mean, that was more or less inspired. Like my spirit animal is a wolf, so I've always had that wolf vibe. I got a tattoos of wolves and shit. So that's just like the vibe that I brought when I started making that out. And I'm like, everybody's talking about a goat this, right. Goat this, and The Runner in that same song, he says he in one of his bars he says I don't care about being a goat. And when I heard that, I was like, bet, because I'm the wolf that eats the goat. You know what I mean? So
yeah, let's dope, get it. Dog. Hell yeah, man. All right, man. So let me ask you this, man. Do you got any music guilty pleasures? And when I say that, I'm saying, is there any music that you listen to with nobody around, man?
No, I mean, not really. That everything that I listen to, anybody that does know me, they can pretty much tell you the type of music I listen to. And not that I'm hating on it. It's just I'm not a country fan. Right. That's just the genre for me that I can sit and listen to it for a little bit, but for me it's just I don't know what it is, but it's just something I'm not a fan of. But other than that, any other genre, I'm sitting there listening to it, in front of anybody, in front of myself. It doesn't even matter. I'm blasting out.
Dope, man. Would you ever explore another genre, man?
I mean, it's a definite possibility. Especially now with being connected through BandLab and so many different artists from so many different genres being able to connect with each other just so fast and frequently. There's definitely that possibility of not necessarily a genre jump, but maybe something along the lines of maybe what Nelly did when he just kind of collabed with a couple of country artists for a couple of tracks. Okay. But he maintained that with that hip hop, that hip hop roots. Maybe something along the lines of that. Maybe a rock album or something like that. I could jump on and have a couple tracks on somebody's or something like that. Just to bring that sauce over.
Dope, man. Hell yeah. All right, man. What ways do you feel that that marketing your music is efficient, man?
For me, the best way that I've been able to promo my music was more or less just getting into contact with so many different people on more or less not a personal level, but on a music personal level.
Dope.
Kind of getting into their tracks, indulging into their tracks, and then really listening to them to a point where I can give, either solid feedback on it, what I think of it, or depending on, the conversation and how it begins, / gets going, if they want, anything that they can get critique wise. So, I get into that realm of their mind. And then once that happens, they kind of reciprocate that same energy, and then we kind of go and piggyback off of that, and then we're just kind of blowing each other's music up.
That's dope, man. Hell yeah. All right, man. So let's say if you never did music, man, what would you be doing?
It's gonna delve probably right back into the art thing. I draw as well. I have a thing for art in general. All the cover arts that I have for the tracks and the albums that we have, I've done them myself. Through the graphic designs and stuff on the PC, and then also drawing itself and scanning those things in. I designed all my own tattoos, and things like that. So it would probably be in the art industry.
All right, man. Dope, man. All right, so we got 6 more months in this year, man. What are your goals leading to 2022, man?
I would say my overall goals would just be to get my voice heard. I wouldn't necessarily say I need to get my name out. That's just gonna eventually come with the territory. But just to get my voice heard, get my my expressions kind of planted in everybody's mind, and just a feel for who I am as a person. That would be more or less my goal. I feel like if that goal gets accomplished, then that would just that's just gonna be the jump start and the pop off, if you will, to something bigger.
Dope, man. Hell yeah. All right, man. So what is the best advice anybody has given you, man?
It would probably be the same advice that I would give to the youth. My mother gave me that advice when I was just a kid myself. I didn't really know what I wanted, just like every other kid. But as a kid, you tend to go down certain paths, whether it be that leader path or that follower path. And I kind of felt like something was off, and I started going down that follower path more. I realized I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I wasn't sticking to it, type thing. And my mom kind of took me aside and was like, "Listen, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?" And when I couldn't tell her, she was like, "That means you don't know who you are." And I was like, "You know what? You're right." So I kind of doubled back on that advice, and then I started doing more things that I wanted to do, rather than my friends were all doing this, so I had to do this.
Right.
And when I realized I was doing that, I started having more fun. I started enjoying everything. And I started realizing, like, my friends didn't give a shit. Like, they didn't care that I wasn't doing what they were doing. So in that instance, I was like, all right, those are my real friends. You know what I mean? They were still, hanging with me, even though I wasn't doing this, or even though I wasn't doing that with them. And at that moment, I realized, like, that advice holds true. Like, stay to yourself, stay true, and don't let anybody switch you up, because in the end, you're going to switch up and you're not going to be happy.
Dope. All right, man. So, man, how is your music going to evolve from here on out, man?
It's a good question, because for me, I don't think music evolves. I think the artist does. Mm-hmm. I would say more or less, artists kind of get into that comfortability zone where they like to stay in that one sound, if you will. And I would consider that like the caterpillar stage. And unless you want to evolve, then you got to kind of branch out and experiment with new sound and new melodies and things like that, and try things that you wouldn't really necessarily think, like, yo, I'm gonna do this right away. I mean, if you're second guessing the beat, or if you're second guessing the sound, maybe that's something that's kind of a sign, like, this might be something different, so people might pop to this. When when you get to that stage, you know what I mean, you kind of get into that chrysalis stage of experimenting with new things and this and that. And then once you kind of get those perfected, you know, you come out and you can kind of flaunt your, you know, your wings as a butterfly, kind of get that evolution of who you became from what you became. You know what I mean?
Dope, man. Hell yeah. All right, man. So we're about at the end of the show, man. Is there any theme or any questions that I didn't ask you that you want to speak on right now, man?
I mean, nah, man, you did a great job. It's a lot of the questions you asked me, I actually get asked by some of my family members, and friends and things like that. As far as like, you know, where I started out and, you know, how did I get to, you know, to where I'm at now, and you know what I mean. It was a great experience, you know, giving you a little background on who I am and everything like that. I appreciate that.
Dope, man. All right, man. So, do you have any special shout outs you want to give, man?
Yeah, actually, hold on.
All right.
Yeah, man, I wanted to shout out Zore, for helping me with those 2 beats, or I'm not sorry, the 2 beats, those 2 albums. You know what I mean? He produced those. He basically made every single one of those beats from scratch. That's all from his mind. You know what I mean? He laid all of his mind and thoughts onto those tracks. I wanted to shout out my mom as well, my late mother. She kind of, you know, made who you guys are hearing right now. So I really love her for that. And then I wanted to also shout out uh SSK Benhams on BandLab. The runner on BandLab, he's at Roadrunner Junior. He's been a big help through the whole transition and being able to get onto this platform and everything. So I wanted to shout him out. And then at Lit XXX, he's one of the homies from day one. So yeah, man. And shout out to all my followers as well. All my followers. Appreciate you guys jamming out and listening to me. And then all the bands that I'm in, I appreciate you guys for letting me join up and making some great tracks with you guys. I appreciate it.
Dope, man. All right, man. So go ahead and plug in all your social media outlets. Let everyone know where they can stream your music at.
Right now, BandLab is my main source. At OC_Kush on BandLab. Me and the production team right now, we've been in talks for about the last 2 or 3 months. We're getting some emails sent out and some returns. But we're gonna be starting up some Spotify and YouTube and all that in the very near future. So,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. OC, a.k.a. Outta Control. You already know. Strictly for the Music Podcast, and we're gone.